Good morning everybody. I am Dr. Neelu Dhi, Associate Professor, Acharya Narendra Dev College. I will be starting with the series on conductance today. Introduction. Let us start with the introduction. The simplest way of studying the motion of ions in solution is through their conductivity, that is, their ability to conduct electricity. The conducting properties of electrolytic solutions can be used to determine the values of many physical quantities such as solubility and solubility products of sparingly soluble salts, ionic products of self-ionizing solvents, hydrolysis constants of salts, dissociation constants of weak acids and bases, and also they form the basis of conductometric titration. Conductors and insulators. Substances which allow electric current to pass through them are called conductors, whereas substances which do not allow the electric current to pass through them are known as insulators. The two types of conductors are, first, the metallic conductors. The materials which conduct electricity without undergoing any decomposition are called metallic conductors. In this case, the conduction is due to the flow of electrons. The resistance of a metal is due to the vibration of metal ions about their lattice positions, which hinder the flows of electrons. The increase in temperature leads to the increase in the frequency of these vibrations. Thus, the resistance of metallic conductor increases or its conductance decreases with the increase in temperature. Second type of conductor are electrolytic conductors. The materials which undergo decomposition when current is passed through them are called electrolytic conductors. In this case, the flow of electricity is due to the movement of ions. Anything that inhibits the motion of ions causes resistance to the current flow. For example, interionic attraction, solvation of ions, and viscosity of the solvent. As the temperature is increased, the average kinetic energy of solute ions increases, and thus the resistance of electrolytic conductor decreases. Therefore, the conduction increases as the temperature is increased for the electrolytic conductor, unlike the metallic conduction where the conduction decreases as the temperature is increased. Conductance in solution or liquid state is carried by ions. Only those substances will conduct electricity that are ionic in molten state, for example sodium chloride, or they dissociate to form ions when dissolved in the solvents like water, for example HCl and acetic acid. Electrolytes. Substances which when molten or in aqueous solution conduct an electric current and which are decomposed by the passage of electric current are called electrolytes, and the conductance is called the electrolytic conductance. It conducts electricity not by the virtue of flow of electrons but as a result of movement of ions which are electrically charged. Classification of electrolytes. Electrolytes can be classified on the basis of their relative conductance as strong electrolytes, weak electrolytes, and non-electrolytes. Strong electrolytes. These substances possess ionic and polar or hydrogen bonded molecular crystalline structure. They are substances that exist only as ions in solution. That is, they are completely ionized in solutions. Their aqueous solutions have high conductance. Examples of strong electrolytes are HCl, NaCl, H2SO4 and NaOH. Weak electrolytes are substances. They are low conducting in dissolved or molten state and possess polar molecules. They only partially dissociate in solution and produce relatively few ions. Their aqueous solutions have low conductance, and examples of weak electrolytes are acetic acid, ammonium hydroxide, hydrogen cyanide. Non-electrolytes, a compound whose melt or aqueous solution does not conduct electric current, is called a non-electrolyte. Examples of non-electrolytes are solutions of cane sugar, glycerine and alcohol, and they do not conduct electricity. Electrolysis. Process of chemical decomposition of an electrolyte on the passage of electric current through its solution is called electrolysis. The device in which electrolysis is carried out by using electricity or in which conversion of electrical energy into chemical energy is done is known as electrolytic cell. An electrolytic cell consists of a vessel for the electrolytic solution or for the fused electrolyte and two metallic electrodes immersed in the reaction material which are connected to a source of electric current. This is the diagram which is showing you the electrolysis containing an electrolyte, and it is in the electrolytic cell having two electrodes dipped into the electrolyte. The metallic electrodes usually used in electrolytic cell are inert. These electrodes do not react with the ions or final products. The ions are required for the electrolysis to take place. Within the cell, the current is carried by the movement of these ions. The cations get attracted towards the negative electrode called cathode, and the anions get attracted towards the positive electrode called anode. When the aqueous solution contains more than one electrolyte, all the ions migrate towards their respective electrodes and hence contribute towards total conductance. The electrode that is connected to the negative terminal of the external battery is negatively charged. Reduction takes place at this electrode and hence it is known as cathode. The reduction reaction is M plus electron gives M. The electrode connected to the positive terminal of the battery, oxidation takes place and hence it is known as the anode. X minus gives X plus electron. If we consider a particular example of electrolysis of molten sodium chloride, we can see that the positive ions, sodium ions, are moving towards the negative electrode and the anions, Cl minus, are moving towards the positive electrode. The reaction at cathode will be the reduction of sodium ions to sodium, and the reaction at anode is Cl minus gives half Cl2 plus electron is the oxidation reaction. The electrochemical reaction of this type is called electrolysis. Products of electrolysis. The electrolysis of molten salts produces ions which are characteristics of the salt. Some electrolytes contain more than one type of cations or anions. In case we have more than one cation or anion migrating towards the respective electrodes, only one particular cation or anion will get discharged at cathode or anode. Thus, there will be the choice between the cations or anions that will be discharged at the respective electrodes. This is where selective discharge of ions comes into picture, and it helps us in predicting which ion will get discharged at cathode and anode. The factors influencing selective discharge of ions are the electrochemical series. Second, the concentration of ions in solution. Third, the nature of the electrode. The electrochemical series is a list of metals or ions arranged in the decreasing order of their reactivities or increasing of order of their ease to get liberated at their particular electrodes. The ease of discharge of cations will depend upon the position of the metal in the reactivity series. This means that in electrolysis, more reactive the metal, the least tendency for the metal ions to be preferentially discharged at cathode. Or the lower the position of an ion in the series, more is its ease to get liberated at cathode or anode. That means it is in more hurry for liberation. Thus, ions of reactive metals like potassium and sodium will remain in solution and will not be discharged. In aqueous solutions, hydrogen ions will be preferentially discharged over the ions of the metals above in the reactivity series to liberate hydrogen gas. Likewise, if cations come from a metal which is below the hydrogen in the reactivity series, the metal ions will be preferentially discharged and metal will be produced. We can see the ease of discharge of anions increases down the list. At the top we have sulfate ion, then nitrate, chloride, bromide, iodide, and last we have hydroxide ion. Sulfate and nitrate ions will remain in the electrolyte solution. Hydroxide ion has the highest ease of discharge because it gives out electrons most readily during electrolysis and oxygen gas will be produced. This is the ease of discharge of cations which increases down the list. We can consider few particular examples to understand how we have to, what will be the products. A, we have the electrolysis of dilute copper sulfate solution. The copper sulfate solution will dissociate to give copper 2 plus ions in sulfate ions, and the water will dissociate to give H plus and OH minus. So, we have two cations, copper 2 plus and H plus in the solution, which will be migrating towards the cathode. Since copper 2 plus lies lower in the electrochemical series than H plus, so H plus will be in more hurry to get liberated at cathode in comparison to H plus. So, the reaction at cathode will be Cu2 plus 2 electron gives copper, and the two anions which are there in the solution, sulfate ion and hydroxide ions, will migrate towards anode. The position of hydroxide ion being lower in the series, it will be liberated to at anode, giving out oxygen. According to the reaction, 4OH minus gives 2H2O plus O2 plus 4 electrons. Thus, the final products of the electrolysis of dilute copper sulfate solution will be copper will be deposited at cathode and oxygen gas will be liberated at anode. If we have electrolysis of sodium chloride will provide sodium ions in chloride ions and water will give H plus and OH minus. Again, we will be having sodium ions and H plus ions migrating towards the cathode, and according to the electrochemical series, H plus will be in a hurry to get liberated, and thus the reaction will be 2H plus 2 electrons to give H2. And again, two anions that are migrating towards the anode are chloride ion and hydroxide ions. and hydroxide ions are lower in the series, so it will be liberated at anode. The reaction at anode will be 4OH minus gives 2H2O plus O2 plus 4 electrons, and thus hydrogen will be liberated at cathode and oxygen gas will be liberated at anode during the electrolysis of dilute sodium chloride solution. The second factor which comes into play for the selective discharge of ions is the concentration of ions in the solution. The ion having more concentration will have a upper hand in getting discharged even if its position in the electrochemical series is higher than the other ion. For example, if we have the electrolysis of concentrated sodium chloride solution, higher concentration of sodium chloride means much more amount of sodium ions and chloride ions in the solution than H plus and OH minus ions. Thus, both sodium ion and chloride ion will get discharged instead of H plus and OH minus. The reaction at cathode will be the reduction of sodium ions, that is Na plus electron gives Na, and the reaction at anode will be the oxidation reaction. 2Cl minus gives Cl2 plus 2 electrons. So, sodium will be deposited at cathode and chlorine gas will be liberated at anode. Third point is the nature of electrode. The material of which the electrode is made determines whether the electrode will take part in the electrolytic reaction or not. Based on this, we have two types of electrodes. Inert electrodes. These electrodes do not take part in the reaction. Common inert electrode materials are iron, graphite and platinum. Active electrodes are those electrodes which will take part in the reaction. The common active electrode materials are copper, nickel and silver. If anode is made up of any of these metals, then the metal itself gets oxidized, loses electrons, and there is no discharge of any anion at the anode. Copper will get oxidized to copper 2 plus 2 electrons. Silver will have the reaction silver ion plus electron. Nickel will give nickel 2 plus 2 electron. If we have electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate using copper electrodes and also small amount of dilute sulfuric acid has been added, the ions that will be there in the solution will be copper 2 plus and sulfate ions. H2SO4 will give H plus sulfate ions, and water will provide H plus and OH minus ions. Both the cations copper 2 plus and H plus will be migrating towards the negative electrode, that is cathode, but the position of copper 2 plus in the electrochemical series is lower, so it will get liberated at cathode and the reduction reaction will be copper 2 plus 2 electrons gives copper. Since copper acts as an active electrode at anode, it will lose its electrons and will get converted into Cu2 plus according to the oxidation reaction. Cu gives Cu2 plus 2 electrons. Copper 2 plus ion, which is getting discharged at cathode, is being regenerated at anode. Thus, the blue color of the solution due to copper 2 plus ions will remain unchanged. There is no product formed at anode as Cu2 plus ions produced are sent into the solution. We can summarize in these two tables how the electrolysis of some aqueous solutions of salts are taking place. Now coming to Faraday's laws of electrolysis. The relationship between the quantity of electric charge passed and the amount of substance deposited at the electrodes was presented by Faraday in 1834 in the forms of laws of electrolysis known as Faraday's laws of electrolysis. Faraday's first law of electrolysis, according to which when an electric current is passed through an electrolyte, the amount of substance deposited is proportional to the quantity of electricity passed. Mathematically, we can write W is proportional to Q. Since Q is equal to IT, W becomes proportional to IT and it becomes equal to Z into I into T, where W is the mass of substance deposited, Q is the quantity of electricity in coulombs, I is the current in amperes, T is time in seconds, Z is the constant of proportionality known as electrochemical equivalent. When current passed is 1 amperes per second, W will become equal to Z, that is the electrochemical equivalent is the mass of substance deposited by 1 ampere of current in 1 second. Faraday's second law. When the same quantity of charge is passed through different electrolytes, the masses of different substances deposited at the respective electrodes will be in the ratio of their equivalent masses. It is found that 96,500 coulombs of electricity are required to liberate 1 gram equivalent weight of any element. This quantity of electricity is named 1 Faraday. The quantity of electricity passed through a circuit can be determined from the chemical changes that are produced when the same amount of current is passed through a suitable electrolyte. Let us have a break at this point. I will continue from here in my next lecture.